it feels like, like every day there's this constant barrage of news,
Yeah.
right? Like huge events, historical stuff. Like it's so hard to actually understand what's going on at a deeper level. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you just get overwhelmed.
totally.
And I think that's where this deep dive comes in, hopefully.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to be tackling a really important but difficult topic. Mass atrocities
Okay.
from like 1900 to today. And our goal here is to like go beyond just, the headlines and like really dig into the causes, the impacts of these events using the information we've got.
Okay.
So we'll be looking at like the effects of, these huge global conflicts like world wars and stuff.
Right.
And the scary new technologies, the role of like extremist ideologies, and then dive into some really tragic specific examples like the Holocaust, the Armenian genocide, the Cambodian genocide, the Rwandan genocide, and the Holodomor.
Wow. That's a lot to cover.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's heavy stuff, but it's important stuff.
It is.
So let's get into it. When we talk about mass atrocities, it's like, I don't know, the 20th century, it feels like this turning point, right?
Yeah.
The scale of violence, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and the material that we've got, it really emphasizes this. Like, just looking at the two world wars alone, an estimated 120 million deaths. Just, it's unfathomable.
It is.
And I think maybe even more significant is how many of those were civilian casualties.
Oh, yeah.
Like around 50%.
Right.
And that's a huge shift. Like, in the past, civilian deaths, they were often a kind of a byproduct. But in the 20th century, you see entire populations being targeted.
Yeah, that's a really crucial point. It's like, it's not just war anymore. It's something way, way worse.
Right.
And you know what else the material brings up? Like, it wasn't just the wars themselves. It's like, it was this emergence of, like, scary new technologies that made these mass killings even worse. Like, I'm thinking about aerial warfare and firebombing.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the destruction, just the sheer scale of it. Hundreds of thousands of people killed, like whole cities wiped out.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to really picture that level of destruction. And it's important to remember these technologies, they weren't just used randomly.
Right.
There was often a very deliberate intent behind it, sometimes to specifically target civilians.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the atomic bomb, like hundreds of thousands of Japanese civilians killed instantly in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
Like a single act causing such immense immediate devastation.
Yeah.
And I think it really raises a question about, the relationship between technological advancement and the potential for these kinds of mass atrocities.
Yeah, it's like, did we create the tools that would make these things possible?
Right.
Like, did we doom ourselves in a way?
It's a disturbing thought, but it's
Right.
worth considering, like as technology advances, what are the implications?
Mm.
And then there's another trend that really emerges from the material, and it's just as disturbing. The rise of extremist political ideologies.
Right.
And I'm not talking about like your typical political disagreements. I'm talking about ideologies that were specifically designed to eliminate entire groups of people
Yeah, yeah.
based solely on their race or ethnicity.
Absolutely.
And, that's really what set the stage for some of the most horrific atrocities in history. It's like the power of these ideologies, it came from their ability to create this us versus them narrative, that was just so strong that it completely dehumanized the targeted groups. And
Yeah.
suddenly, unimaginable violence, it became justifiable, even necessary.
Yeah, it's like they weren't even seen as people anymore.
Exactly. They were stripped of their humanity, reduced to mere obstacles or threats.
Yeah. So let's start digging into the specifics. I mean, where do we even begin? I guess with the Holocaust.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the most well-known example, right?
Right.
And it's hard to even comprehend the scale of it, like the industrialized nature of it.
Yeah, it was a system.
It was a system designed to exterminate.
Right. And it's like it all started with Hitler.
Yeah.
Right. And his crazy ideology about this purified German race.
Yeah, and anyone who didn't fit into that, twisted vision, they were targeted.
Right. And the Nazis, they had a plan.
Yeah, the final solution, right?
Yeah. And it's terrifying how methodical it was.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't just, random violence. It was a coordinated campaign to wipe out entire groups.
Yeah.
Jews, Roma,
Yeah.
homosexuals, disabled people, political opponents.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone they considered undesirable.
And they started by, legally stripping Jews of their rights with things like the Nuremberg laws
Right, right.
and then forcing them into ghettos.
Yeah.
It was all about isolating them, making them vulnerable.
It's like they were like dehumanizing them step by step.
Exactly.
And then, of course, there were the camps.
Yeah, the concentration camps, the extermination camps.
Like Auschwitz.
Auschwitz, the largest one.
It's just horrifying to think about the efficiency of it. Like
Mhm.
12,000 people killed per day
Yeah.
using gas chambers. It's like they industrialized murder.
It's hard to even wrap your head around it. 6 million Jews and another 5 million from other targeted groups.
It's beyond comprehension.
It is.
Okay, let's move on to another example. The Armenian genocide.
Yeah, so this one happened in the Ottoman Empire during 1915 and 1916.
Right, right.
And, it all took place under the rule of, this group called the Young Turks.
Okay.
They were like a nationalist political movement. They wanted to modernize the Ottoman Empire and make it more Turkic.
Okay.
And this created a lot of suspicion towards the Armenian Christian population that lived in the empire.
So they were seen as a threat.
Exactly, a threat to their vision of a homogenous Turkic state.
Got it.
And this, all happened during World War I. And the Ottoman Empire, they were facing, enemies on multiple fronts.
Right.
And there was this fear, whether it was justified or not, that the Armenians might support the enemy forces.
So it's like the war kind of fueled the paranoia.
Yeah, and this paranoia, it became the trigger for the atrocities that followed.
And the methods they used,
Yeah.
they were brutal.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about outright slaughter,
Hmm.
as well as these forced relocations.
And these weren't just like, moving people from one place to another.
No, these were like death marches.
Right.
Into harsh conditions where people died from starvation, disease, and just brutality.
And how many people are we talking about here?
Well, the estimates vary, but somewhere between 600,000 and 1 million Armenians.
1 million.
It's a staggering loss of life, and it's a controversial topic. The historical debate surrounding it continues to this day.
Right.
But the evidence of, systematic violence, of an attempt to wipe out an entire population, it's undeniable.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about another one, the Cambodian genocide under the Khmer Rouge.
Yeah, this one's different. It happened in the late 1970s, and it was driven by this radical communist ideology under Pol Pot.
Okay.
Their goal was to transform Cambodia into a purely agrarian state, like completely erasing any trace of Western influence.
Like back to the land kind of thing.
Exactly, like a complete societal reset.
Wow.
And it's interesting because, race wasn't the primary driver in the same way that it was in the Holocaust or the Armenian genocide.
Yeah.
But the results were equally devastating. The Khmer Rouge, they forcibly evacuated cities, forced people into these brutal labor camps, and they specifically targeted educated people, anyone they perceived as having Western ties or knowledge.
So anyone who posed a threat to their ideology.
Exactly. Anyone who didn't fit into their vision of this new agrarian society.
And how many people died?
It's estimated that around 1.5 to 3 million Cambodians died during this period.
Wow.
And it just shows how even ideologies that aren't explicitly based on race can lead to these kinds of mass killings when they're combined with extreme power and a complete disregard for human life.
Right.
It's the danger of these utopian visions, that are imposed through violent means. Like in their attempt to create this idealized agrarian society, they eliminated anyone they deemed an obstacle.
It's scary how ideology can be twisted like that.
It is. It's a reminder that, even the best of intentions can be corrupted. Okay. So moving on. We have the Rwandan genocide. This one took place in 1994. And, to understand it, we need to go back to the colonial period.
Okay.
Rwanda was a Belgian colony. And the Belgians, they kind of exacerbated existing ethnic tensions between the Hutu majority and the Tutsi minority.
How so?
Well, they favored the Tutsis.
Oh, wow.
They gave them preferential treatment. And this created a lot of resentment among the Hutus.
Right.
And when Rwanda gained independence in 1962, the Hutus, they took power, and this resentment, it led to discriminatory policies against the Tutsis.
Oh, wow. So the tensions were still really high.
Yeah, extremely high. And What really set things off was the assassination of the Hutu president in 1994.
Okay.
And this act was falsely attributed to the Tutsis.
Oh, wow.
And it became the catalyst for this explosion of violence.
It's like they used it as an excuse.
Yeah, it was a pretext for a planned extermination campaign.
And how quickly did things escalate?
Well, incredibly quickly. I mean, over the course of just 3 months, Hutus slaughtered hundreds of thousands of Tutsis.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the estimates range from 500,000 to 1 million Rwandans killed. And it was often done in very personal, very brutal ways with machetes.
Machetes?
Yeah, machetes were the primary weapon.
Wow.
And it's a horrific example of how quickly, societal divisions can erupt into this kind of mass violence.
Right.
Like, all it takes is a spark.
Yeah.
And then the flames just consume everything.
Okay. So we have one more to cover, the Holodomor.
Right. This one's a little bit different. It happened in Ukraine, which was part of the Soviet Union at the time.
Okay.
And this was a famine, but it wasn't a natural famine.
Oh, okay.
It was engineered by the Soviet regime under Stalin in the 1930s.
So it was like man-made.
Yeah, deliberately created. And
Yeah.
to understand it, we need to look at what was happening in Soviet agriculture at the time. Stalin, he was pushing for this policy of collectivization,
Yeah.
which meant abolishing private land ownership and forcing farmers to join these large state-controlled collective farms.
Okay.
But the farmers, they resisted.
Of course.
They didn't want to give up their land, their livelihoods.
Right.
And so they resisted in various ways, like, burning their own crops, killing their livestock.
Wow.
And this resistance, as understandable as it was, it actually played into Stalin's hands
Really?
because it created food shortages.
Oh, right.
And Stalin's government, they just doubled down. They seized grain from the farmers. They basically weaponized food.
Oh my God.
And it resulted in this devastating famine, particularly in Ukraine.
And how many people died?
It's estimated that between 7 and 10 million peasants died in the Holodomor.
Wow, that's just unbelievable.
It is. It's a truly horrific example of how political and economic policies can be deliberately implemented to cause mass death on an unimaginable scale.
Yeah, it's like they use starvation as a weapon.
Exactly. And it highlights the power of, totalitarian regimes to exert absolute control over their populations and to inflict just immense suffering in pursuit of their goals.
Yeah. Even when those goals are presented as being for the greater good.
Right. The ends justify the means kind of thinking. And
Yeah.
it's a dangerous mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. We've seen how large-scale conflicts like the World Wars created an environment where mass death became, almost normalized, and how technological advancements intended for progress were tragically used for unprecedented destruction. And then underlying so many of these events, these poisonous roots of extremist ideologies that dehumanized entire groups and paved the way for systematic violence.
Absolutely. And if we take a step back and look at each individual example, the human cost is just staggering.
Yeah.
The industrialized murder of the Holocaust, the systematic destruction of the Armenian genocide, the radical social engineering of the Cambodian genocide, the rapid and brutal violence of the Rwandan genocide, and then the engineered famine of the Holodomor. Each one of these represents a unique but equally devastating tragedy.
Yeah. It's a lot to process, and it really leaves you with this profound sense of sorrow, but also this desperate desire to understand how to prevent such horrors from ever happening again.
Absolutely.
So, for you, the listener, I want to leave you with this question. Considering all the factors we've explored today, war, technology, ideology, what recurring patterns do you observe across these different atrocities?
Yeah.
And what does understanding those patterns suggest about the crucial work of preventing such unimaginable tragedies from happening again in the future?
It's a question we all need to be asking ourselves.
Yeah, because it's up to all of us to learn from the past and to work towards a future where these horrors are never repeated.
Absolutely. We can't let history repeat itself.
Right. We have to do better.
We do.
We owe it to the victims.
Yeah.
We owe it
Yeah.
to ourselves.
We do. We owe it to humanity.
Yeah.